Welcome back to the new adventures of the monad. We have looked at the moon chain of our scheme in some detail, as what started to occur on this chain makes more sense to us in our evolution through the fourth, the earth chain. Through the preceding three chains, there was a gradual descent into materiality, at least materiality as we know it. Every plane is material, but it is only when you get to plane 49 that you finally hit the buffers and can descend no further. The reasons for this have already been explained in earlier presentations in the Adventures of the Monad. Let us now summarize the last three presentations on the third chain. This will allow us to discuss certain points in more detail and arrange what we know about the classes of monads that evolved through and exited from this chain. There will be the usual complement of diagrams and tables to help in this endeavor. We will start by first describing the main classes of entities who emerged from the moon chain, and then proceed to detail their subdivisions and ramifications. The list is as follows. A. The full successors of the chain, Arhats, 46 selves. B1. Moonmen of the first order, subdivided into 5 grades. B2. Moonmen of the second order, who have basket-work causal bodies. B3. Moon animal men, possessing line causal bodies. You know what they are. C1. Moon animals of the first class. C2. Moon animals of the second class. C3. Moon animals of the third class. We then come to D, the moon vegetables, then to E, the moon minerals, and finally to F, the moon elementals from kingdoms 3, 2, and 1. Let us consider these main classes in detail with their various subdivisions. A. We have the Arhats, 46 selves. You'll remember that the level set for human attainment on the moon chain was the Arhat initiation, I4. Those who reached this level were therefore the full successors of the chain, having achieved the purposes of the Logos. Succeeding in this manner, they were free to take one or other of the 7 paths which is always open before the perfected humanity of each chain. It is not known for certain whether these 7 paths are the same as those that are open before the adepts of the present earth chain, but at least one of them shows a decided resemblance. Some of the earth adepts, 45 selves, will remain in close touch with the succeeding chain, the 5th, and incarnate in it to help the inhabitants in their evolution. One of the 7 classes of the Arhats, 46, on the moon chain, or Lords of the Moon as they are often called, stayed to help the earth chain. The members of this class are called in the secret doctrine the Baheshads or Baheshad Pitris. They are known also as the sons of twilight, celestial men, sons of the moon, and progenitors. Another name is the cubes, because on the moon chain they conquered matter in its quaternary or fourfold form. They brought that matter with them for its further evolution in the earth chain. There are 4 classes of the Baheshad, lunar or Rupa Pitris, as they are variously called. The first from globe G had their causal bodies as their lowest envelopes or vehicles and presided over the first round of the earth chain. The second class had the mental body for their vehicle and worked in the second round of the earth chain. The third used their emotional body working in the third round of the earth chain, and the fourth were clothed in their etheric envelope and presided over the 4th round of the earth chain. This designation is hardly surprising, as each successive globe was on a denser plane of matter and required an envelope made of the material from that plane. However, what this is also telling us is that the Pitris involved were of a higher grade in the earlier rounds. Why? Because the work of forming the globe at its earlier stages requires the most amount of energy and knowledge. Just to make things more interesting, each of the 4 classes listed had 7 subclasses, called arupa and rupa, designated by the differences in evolution. In case you are interested, arupa means formless and rupa means form. So, you now know where in the triad these monads would focus their activity. There is thus 28 subclasses of Bahishads in total, 7 working in each round of the earth chain. These are sometimes known as the 7 classes of Pitris. They must not, of course, be confused with another 7-fold classification, which includes the Bahishads, the Agnish Shavatas, and others. Confused? Don't worry, most people are. The term Pitris means father in Sanskrit. The Bahishads are one of the 2 classes of Pitris in theosophy. They are the lunar spirits who are more closely connected with earth and became the creative Elohim of form or the Adam of dust. Just in case you were wondering, in theosophy, the Elohim of form refers to a class of beings who are the spirits of the 7 creative hierarchies or the 7 planetary spirits. They do not have causal bodies. They are beyond needing them and do not use them to function effectively. We are told they possess creative fire. Take this to mean that they are 45 selves and can use atomic energy. So, to summarize, in case you are confused, the Bahishads are a class of Pitris who are lunar spirits, while the Bahishad Pitris are a class of Pitris who are our solar ancestors and creators of the first ethereal race of humanity. There. Confusion dispelled. As mentioned, the Bahishad Pitris belong to the 7 creative hierarchies and have under them a vast host of nature spirits who are the actual builders of form. The Pitris themselves being more analogous to architects, giving the plans or models. The Bahishads are the evolutionary product of the human stream. The builders are the Devas, here called the nature spirits. Now, we get to the various class of moonmen. B1. Moonmen of the first order. Below the preceding class comes a large and diverse group known as the moonmen of the first order. This includes 1. Some who are on the lower steps of the path, though below the Arhat 46 level. Some who have not yet reached the path but were approaching it. 3. The failures, who had dropped out of the lunar humanity at the Great Separation or Day of Judgment in the middle of the 6th round, together with the most advanced lunar animals. These animals had succeeded in fully forming their causal bodies, having individualized in the 5th, 6th and 7th rounds. We can now add some further information about these classes of moonmen for the first order. 1. The first group are those who were already on the path and had, like the Lords of the Moon, long ago attained adeptship and passed away altogether, and we need not consider them any further. 2. The second group are those who were approaching the path and had individualized in the 4th round of the moon chain. This group had also had by this time attained adeptship 45 or gone still further. Among them are the present Kohans Moya and Kuthumi, the future Manu and Bodhisattva of the 6th root race on earth. I personally am not sure if this last statement is accurate, but this is what Ledbetter reported, so I am just passing on the good news. Also in this group were most of those monads who became Arhats 46 under the influence of the teachings of the Lord Buddha. 3. The next class of moonmen were the failures and the animals who had attained a fully formed causal body. We can divide this group into 3 subclasses according to the round in which they individualized. 1 subclass individualized in the 5th round on the moon chain. They are now the most advanced of our present humanity, the really distinguished people, whether the world accepts them as such or not. They are now either on the path or approaching it, or they are great saints or humanity of special, high, intellectual or artistic achievement. In our 5-fold classification, they are 4 compassionate souls focused in their 47-4 permanent molecule. So, being a failure does not brand you forever. You end up becoming the successes in the next chain by the simple fact that you have already worked on your envelopes for many rounds before you exited the last chain. 4. The next subclass is individualized in the 6th round of the moon chain. This is a fairly large group of monads. Arthur Powell amusingly described them as people who are distinctly gentleman persons of refined feeling with a high sense of honor, and rather above the average in their goodness, intellect, or religious feelings. Typical examples are country gentlemen and professional men, clergy, officers in the army and navy, etc. This is a view of humanity that thankfully is in the rearview mirror. Anyway, this group had strength, but was by no means free from the possibility of using their power wrongly. It would be naive to always consider such monads as being respectable in the conventional sense of that term, but they are unlikely to be monsters. I would place them at the 3 cultured stage, being focused in their 48-1 permanent atom, but conscious in the higher subdivisions of this envelope. 5. The next subclass was individualized in the 7th round of the moon chain. The members of this group do not differ greatly from those of the preceding subclass, except that they were somewhat middle of the road when it came to describing their character. They focused their intelligence towards material ends, perhaps as city merchants. They represented what is commonly known as the upper middle class in the 20th century. Notice here that we are talking about monads who presently are in the 5th root race, not the bulk of humanity who are in the 4th root race. All these subdivisions of the first order of the moon men melt into one another by almost indistinguishable gradations, so that the lowest personas of any one of them differ little from the highest personas of the next class below. Not only are the lines between them not clearly marked, but there is even a good deal of intermingling. As they say in India, in these days, castes are mixed. Let us leave it there for today. What is the main take-home concept from this presentation? It is that many of us started our human journey on the moon and not on the earth chain. Depending when we started that journey has largely influenced where we are today. We will finish off looking at the moon men and the remainder of the categories of life on the moon chain in the next presentation. Thank you.